London Mayor, you're a disgrace. You're disgusting. You do not deserve to be in that position. Not when the welfare, the well-being, the dignity, the integrity, the safety and the innocence of children in the capital city is at stake. You are the most deplorable, despicable, horrible human being to answer that question like that. Now you get back in that seat, you answer the question properly, you get the stats, you hold the police to account. That is what you're supposed to be doing. That is what I'm paying you to do. As someone who pays taxes, living in London, I should expect no less. The country should expect no less. You disgust me.
The crowd froze as the words cut through the noise of London's busy streets. A furious Londoner, boiling with anger and frustration, unleashed a tirade directly at Sadiq Khan, exposing the failures of a mayor who has long ignored the voices of ordinary people. It wasn't just a confrontation, it was humiliation, raw and unfiltered, playing out in front of stunned onlookers. Khan, visibly shaken, had no defense. He chose to walk away, but in that very moment, the damage was already done. The scene spread like wildfire online, and within hours, millions had witnessed the mayor of London fleeing from accountability, disgraced and exposed in the most public way possible. This was more than a heated exchange. It was a symbol of a city that has had enough, a people tired of being ignored, and a leader running from the truth. What happened on that street has now become the perfect snapshot of Sadiq Khan's entire time in office. Failure, denial, and retreat. The Londoners' words echoed the anger of countless citizens who feel abandoned as their city spirals into chaos. Rising crime, homelessness spreading like wildfire, and the decaying state of public services have all become defining marks of Khan's leadership. When confronted face to face, instead of engaging with the real pain and frustration of ordinary Londoners, Khan did what he always does, turned his back and walked away. His arrogance in dismissing genuine concerns only fueled the anger further, as if the people he governs don't even deserve an answer. That humiliating moment on the street wasn't just about one man's frustration. It was about the breaking point of an entire city that has had enough of being ignored. The Londoners' words hit with brutal force. Why are you giving our money away while our veterans sleep on the streets? Why are you letting our country fall apart? These were not empty accusations. They were questions Khan should have answered long ago. Instead, he walked away, his silence speaking louder than any excuse he could have offered. Londoners have watched their city fall deeper into crisis year after year, and what they saw on that street was proof of what many already knew. Khan has no answers. His leadership has left the city in ruins, and when challenged, he hides, deflects, or pretends the problems don't exist. The confrontation went viral because it spoke directly to the raw frustration of everyday people who feel betrayed by those in power. For years, Khan has portrayed himself as a leader who listens, a man of the people, but this encounter ripped away that illusion. The humiliation he suffered wasn't just in the words shouted at him. It was in his refusal to face them. A mayor who cannot look a citizen in the eye, who cannot defend his record, and who cannot even acknowledge the struggles of his own people, is a mayor who has already failed. That is why this moment resonated so deeply. It revealed the truth. Beneath the polished speeches and carefully staged appearances, Khan is detached, weak, and incapable of answering the most basic questions about the state of his city. This humiliation comes at a time when London is grappling with its darkest challenges in decades. Knife crime has soared to terrifying levels, leaving families broken and communities living in fear. Homelessness is no longer confined to back alleys but visible on every high street, a stark reminder of a city unable to care for its own. Transport has become unreliable, housing unaffordable, and public trust in leadership almost completely eroded. In this context, Khan's decision to walk away from one frustrated citizen was not just an act of cowardice. It was an insult to every Londoner who feels the weight of his failures every single day. And yet, Khan continues to carry himself with the smugness of a man who believes he will never be held accountable. His repeated excuses and hollow promises have lost all credibility. That street encounter was so humiliating because it stripped him of the shield he hides behind. Without a press officer to spin his words, without a polished stage to distract from reality, Khan was left exposed, unable to answer the most basic of questions. Why is London falling apart under his watch? The people now see what lies beneath the image he tries so hard to maintain. An empty leader who cannot defend his record, cannot face criticism, and cannot stand up to the truth. This viral moment is not just about humiliation, it's about accountability. It is about a city rising up, tired of being ignored and lied to. The Londoner who confronted Khan spoke for millions who feel voiceless. His words captured the frustration of veterans abandoned, of families living in fear of crime, of workers priced out of their own city, and of communities crumbling under failed leadership. And in that moment, Khan was left humiliated, not just by the words of one man, but by the collective voice of a city that is ready to hold him to account. The viral confrontation with Sadiq Khan was more than just an embarrassing clip circulating on social media. It was a breaking point that exposed the depth of London's disillusionment with its mayor. For years, Londoners have lived with the crushing weight of rising crime, surging homelessness, and a sense that their once great city is spiraling out of control. This single encounter revealed what many have long suspected. Khan has no genuine answers, no willingness to engage with the anger of ordinary people, and no ability to take responsibility for the decline under his watch. The humiliation came not simply from the words of the citizen, but from Khan's complete inability to respond. He could have taken the chance to defend his policies, explain his actions, or at least show some empathy. Instead, he turned away. That act of walking off, caught on camera, will forever symbolize his failure as a leader who cannot face the people he claims to serve. The power of this moment lies in how it crystallized years of frustration. For ordinary Londoners, it wasn't just about one question on the street. It was about the cumulative weight of unanswered questions stretching back through Khan's entire time as mayor. Why has knife crime exploded in London while other cities have managed to reduce theirs? Why are veterans, men and women who risked their lives for Britain, left to rot on the streets while taxpayer money is funneled elsewhere? Why does London, one of the richest cities in the world, look and feel like it is in decline under his leadership? Each of these questions is urgent, personal, and unavoidable, yet Khan dodges them every time. That refusal to engage is what makes the humiliation sting so sharply, because it shows he is not only incapable of solving these problems, but unwilling even to confront them. The citizens' raw words carried an anger that no spin doctor could dismiss. This is England. This ain't Bangladesh. This ain't Pakistan. This is England we're living in. Though blunt and harsh, it reflected a deeper sentiment many Londoners feel. Their city no longer feels like it belongs to them. This isn't just about demographics or culture. It's about priorities, about a government that appears more concerned with global appearances than with the struggles of its own people. Khan's silence in response to this sentiment only confirmed what many already believed. He has lost touch with the heart of the city. His detachment is complete, his arrogance unmatched, and his refusal to stand and answer, even for a moment, exposed his cowardice in a way no political opponent ever could. When the footage spread online, the reaction was explosive. People from across Britain, not just London, shared the same outrage and disbelief. Comments flooded in from those who felt the confrontation spoke directly to their own experiences with failed leadership. Veterans, mothers, workers, and young people all recognized their struggles in the words shouted at Khan. This wasn't just one angry man on the street. It was the voice of a nation sick of watching its leaders shrug off responsibility while ordinary people suffer. And while Khan may have hoped the incident would blow over, the opposite happened. It became a symbol, a rallying cry, proof that even in the face of smug arrogance, the truth can still cut through. What makes Khan's humiliation even more damning is how it exposed the emptiness of his so-called achievements. When challenged on crime statistics in interviews, he has repeatedly tried to spin the narrative by cherry-picking data, hiding behind vague references to public health approaches or youth services. But the reality is clear. Knife-point robberies have surged by more than a third, gun crime is up, and Londoners feel less safe than ever before. When pressed for answers, Khan astonishingly tried to blame the rise in knife crime on mobile phones, claiming that the resale value of stolen phones drives the violence. To the public, this explanation was laughable, an insult to victims who face the terror of knife-wielding attackers. And when this weak excuse collided with the raw fury of an ordinary citizen, the truth could no longer be concealed. Khan had no defense, no coherent answer, and no courage to even try. The confrontation also revealed something far more dangerous: a mayor who has grown comfortable in his unaccountability. In a city where crime rises, where homelessness is rampant, and where trust in leadership has collapsed, Khan's instinct is not to engage or fix the problem, but to walk away and pretend it isn't happening. This detachment is exactly why the confrontation resonated so deeply. The people of London are not asking for miracles. They are demanding honesty, leadership, and a willingness to put their concerns first. Khan offers none of these. Instead, he has become the symbol of a political class that thrives on photo opportunities and hollow slogans while ignoring the crumbling reality on the streets. Humiliation of this kind is not easily forgotten. It lingers because it feels real, raw, and authentic, unlike the staged performances of politics. It was not a journalist or an opposition politician tearing into Khan. It was one of the very people he is meant to serve, armed with nothing more than his frustration and his voice. And it was in that moment, as Khan fled down the street, that the mayor's image cracked beyond repair. For millions watching, the mask slipped, and all that remained was a man running from accountability, humiliated in front of the city. He has failed. The humiliation Sadiq Khan suffered on that street did not happen in isolation. It was the culmination of years of mounting failures that have left Londoners feeling betrayed, abandoned, and increasingly unsafe in their own city. The confrontation went viral because it distilled everything that is wrong with his leadership into one unforgettable moment. Londoners are no strangers to his deflections, his spin, and his hollow reassurances. But seeing him confronted face to face and reduced to silence, before fleeing rather than answering, exposed the weakness at the very heart of his leadership. It was a visual representation of what so many already knew. When it comes to accountability, Khan runs. And in running, he humiliated himself not just before one angry Londoner, but before the entire nation. At the core of this humiliation lies the crime crisis that has come to define Khan's tenure as mayor. Knife crime, gun crime, violent robberies, and lawlessness on the streets have all surged under his watch. Families live in fear, parents dread their children walking home at night, and entire communities feel abandoned. When questioned, Khan often repeats the same tired line: "One homicide is one too many." Yet behind this empty phrase lies a staggering reality. Knife-point robberies are up by more than a third, nearly 8,000 a year, while other major UK cities such as Greater Manchester and the West Midlands have seen decreases. London is moving in the wrong direction, and the responsibility falls squarely on his shoulders. The humiliation came from his inability to explain why. Instead of taking ownership, Khan drags in irrelevant excuses, blaming mobile phones, blaming manufacturers, blaming austerity, blaming anything but himself. This is why the citizens' confrontation struck such a chord. His demand was simple: why is London being destroyed while money is sent abroad and veterans sleep in the cold? It was not a question about abstract policy, but about human lives, lives sacrificed, ignored, and betrayed by a city leader who refuses to put them first. Khan's refusal to engage made his humiliation complete. It showed that he could not answer because he does not care, or worse, because he has no solutions. In either case, his silence confirmed what millions suspected: that their mayor is detached from the suffering around him and incapable of facing the truth. The symbolism of the mayor walking away cannot be overstated. For ordinary Londoners, it perfectly mirrored their own experience of being ignored. When crime rises, Khan turns away. When homelessness spreads, he turns away. When transport collapses, when housing becomes impossible, when veterans are left destitute, again, he turns away. His response to criticism is always the same: avoidance, arrogance, and excuses. That is why this public humiliation has resonated so deeply. It was not just a man walking away from one confrontation, it was the embodiment of his entire leadership style. And in that moment, the world saw the truth in the clearest, rawest form possible. The wider context makes this even more damning. London is a city of immense wealth, talent, and opportunity, yet under Khan's stewardship, it feels increasingly unrecognizable. Streets once known for their vibrancy are now overshadowed by crime and decay. Families who once dreamed of building a future in the capital are fleeing for safer, more affordable places to live. Veterans who gave everything for the country are abandoned to sleep rough, while taxpayers are left wondering why their money is poured into causes that do nothing to fix the crisis on their doorstep. This is not just mismanagement, it is betrayal. And the humiliation of Khan being confronted in public is symbolic of the betrayal that millions feel every single day. Khan's defenders argue that he has invested in youth services, set up violence reduction units, and attempted to use data-driven approaches to target crime hotspots. But these initiatives ring hollow when measured against the reality on the ground. The promises sound good on paper, but they do not stop a teenager from being stabbed, or a family from being robbed at knife point, or a veteran from freezing on the street. His excuses about data and long-term strategies are meaningless when people are suffering in the present. That is why the Londoners' brutal words resonated. They cut through the fog of spin and addressed the failure in plain, undeniable terms. And Khan's silence proved he has nothing left to say. What unfolded on that street is now a turning point, not just for Khan's reputation, but for London itself. Leaders are often judged not by their successes, but by how they handle failure. In that moment, Khan revealed everything: his weakness, his arrogance, and his cowardice. He could not face one man's anger, and by walking away, he turned that anger into a symbol of his entire leadership. It was humiliation on the deepest level, the exposure of a man who pretends to lead but cannot confront the truth of his failures. And while Khan may try to bury the memory beneath statistics and speeches, the image of him fleeing will live on in the minds of Londoners as the moment he was unmasked.